Okay, I had to free up space on my phone, which is another telltale sign, right? Like, there's so much. And every day I try to, like I said, I stay present because when I look at what this world is up against, when I look at what humanity is up against, I say I'm only one person. And to balance the joy and the pain of being alive in this body, to be aware in this body, it's an everyday efforting of like, keep it simple, right? And I'll say keep it simple, silly, because I'll never call myself stupid. I'm not stupid at all. I am simplifying my life so that I can actually enjoy it, because a lot of these things happened before I was even born and they are not on me to repair or replace. I think there is a reckoning, and there will continue to be a reckoning, because there has been for too long too many people allowed to circumvent accountability, and there's real harm that's been done. There are real damages that need to be repaid, and we are seeing how most nations are looking at America as the laughingstock. Our leaders have been in some really, really nasty things, and I'm not even judging you guys yet. I'm saying that to say America has to clean up its own house. While you out here giving other countries millions and billions of dollars, your own people are sleeping in tents. It is absolutely deplorable, the conditions that you leaders would allow citizens to live in, and then to part your lips and say this is the greatest nation. Yeah, we're back. Back from what? Literally on the brink of devastation. Let China's linchpin pull with their markets this week. America's gonna be next. And that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all have sat up here and built false promises of today on glass houses of yesteryear. And the chickens are coming home to roost. All that debt that y'all over leveraged in these markets, in these commodities, this speculative trading, banks constantly bailing y'all out. And you have a nation of people who are expected to pay the cost, who are too sick to even show up to work, who are too underpaid to even take on a second or third job. They are tired, they are sick, they are dying way before their time. And all y'all keep saying is keep paying your taxes, keep shopping, keep showing up, keep shopping. How is this okay? Like, who literally is going to call the time out? Who of sound mind is going to say enough is enough? Because it's ridiculous. Like I said, I've applied for at least 700 jobs since last November. And I'm literally at the point where, like, I laugh because I'm like, my feet are cute. I could actually sell pictures of my feet if I wanted to. I'm trying to be so serious about my life. But the way y'all are making me have to think about creative strategies to make money makes no sense when I have 2 degrees. I did everything I was supposed to do. I pay my taxes every year, whether I like it or not. I'm not trying to get over on none of y'all, and I know how y'all move. So that's what really upsets me the most, right? Is because I'm the type of person that I will laugh off a lot of stuff. And that's why I said, like, whoever I get to work with, they're going to be so lucky and grateful to know me, because I know the people that I have worked with in the past, and like how I was able to genuinely connect with them. Like, I know who I am. I know the energy I bring to teams, to companies, to what have you, whatever type of connections. I know who I am as a person. And so it's going to be a joy. It may not always be easy conversations, but it really depends on what and how clear and transparent we are. But I look at this stuff, and I look at the leaders, and I look at the rumors that are going on about the president and the Epstein files and what he may have done to Bill Clinton and stuff. And I'm literally, like I said last week, I feel like we live in the Twilight Zone. because there's no way any of this is real. Like, this has to be an alternate timeline that is like a timeout from the universe to say, oh, y'all get y'all shit together, because this cannot be real. You got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. I'm like, all these people out of work, y'all had how many jobs? Y'all were able to comfortably slash 15,000 jobs, 20,000 jobs of human beings who are expected to pay all their bills on time and in full every month. And we already know most Americans do not even have $500 for an emergency. What are y'all about to do to the economy? What are y'all about to do to your own people? So again, when I start saying little jokes like, all right, I guess on my list, I have swap out my autumn decor for winter decor, finish the stair railings and windows repairs and treatments, make chocolate chip cookies. I'm like, I have my ideas of like my own personal home projects that I can tend to, right? I have my list of activities that I love already and that I'm committed to, right? I have my Pilates, my yoga, my spa treatments, my hair and scalp treatments, my cardio, my strengthening, my dental aligners and nourishment, my eyebrow implants and maintenance, my hula hoop, my dancing, my wellness, my skating, my massages, my body treatments, my stretching, my gua sha, my acupressure, my reflexology, my bath soaks, my acupuncture, my walking, my cycling, my meditation, my rowing, my couple services, snow tubing, hot tub, sauna, bath houses, red light treatments. And red light treatments, that's like actual red light to like help your skin, not red light district. Hiking, dry sauna, tea houses, facials, vajacials, and steams, right? I have no shortage of things that I get to go do. But it's like, that takes money too, right? So when I get in there, and like I tell people about my products all the time, right? I keep some with me, even when I go to the gym, because I really like my products. My goat milk body cream, right? But my creative director, I'm laughing because we had a really passionate conversation about using plastic. So we have to reconfigure the containers that we use. But I love it. It smells so good. So this one, I did my own little blend of, so it's a goat milk lotion as the base. And again, I customize, have my oils in it. So I added vitamin E oil, jojoba oil, and then I have my, I think I did frankincense essential oil. No, patchouli essential oil and another essential oil in it. And then some fragrance oil. But that's my own personal blend for like my own personal use. And I take it with me to the gym. So after I'm done, use the bathroom, moisturize my hands, have my hand wipes, etc. Like, I have no shortage of things to get into, and that's my intention, right? So between my writing, my poetry, my working with clients, my doing stuff around the house, friends, family, whatever that looks like, I have no shortage of things to tend to, right? But the biggest thing that I was looking at, and this goes back to pre-COVID, was like I was thinking about legacy and family, and because again we spend so much time, and I say we, meaning the Black community. From the time I was in elementary school, every Black History Month, we have to watch a continuation of stories about what this person did, what that person did. And then again, fast forward to the time where you're an adult and you can do something about it, and you realize that like your community has already been infiltrated by so many Judases that literally do not want you all to succeed. And at any given moment, any of them can turn on you and end your life, right? And so you start, the more and more I talk to people, closed door conversations, just around the world, it's like people are afraid, right? Because they don't want to lose what they've spent so much time accumulating, and that's understandable, right? Nobody wants to be destitute. Nobody's choosing to be destitute. And again, that's why I said I had to become comfortable being in front of the screen so that I could talk plainly, because like And I tell people, I'm like, you know, poverty is a systemic failure, not a personal failure, right? But again, everybody is so traumatized by the amount of gaslighting that's been done, where it's like they don't even have, a lot of people don't even have the awareness to know that the systems are failing us intentionally. That's why certain things aren't able to accumulate or come to us. Not because you're not worthy of it, but it's because of how the policy was written. It's about the people who uphold the law, right? It was written that way. And the way that we can actually change it is by having enough money, having enough of us consolidating our wealth, our accumulation, trusting each other. We have to start with trust, right? We have to be able to buy the politicians. There's no other way around it, right? We can create PACs and super PACs during election seasons. Like, here's our agenda. Here's what you need to do. This is how you'll get our vote. We have to get people to get on our side, but the problem is we don't trust each other enough to consolidate our money to do something that's actually in the benefit of us all. Right now, this world is crumbling the way that it is because it's only benefiting a few, and the majority of us have okayed that. And every day that we turn a blind eye to everybody else's suffering, we okay it even more. And again, unpopular opinion, I can't care anymore, right? Because I have literally watched my career go up in flames, right? From working at a couple of organizations where someone like me is not supposed to be creating the communication strategy or the communications plan or ghostwriting for the president or this, and that, right? I try to move real kindly in the world. But I also will tell you, like, I don't suffer fools because we have a finite amount of time. And because I know enough of us don't get into those places, I try my best to keep in mind the most marginalized when I show up in these rooms, right? Because like I said, if I was to cut this video off, I have no shortage of activities and hobbies to keep myself busy with, right? I could always use more money. Always. Right? So you offer me money, depending on what you're offering me for and what it's attached to, I more than likely will say yes, right? Because there's always more coffee to buy. There's always a water bill to pay. There's always taxes to pay because, again, when I write out my budget, I'm anticipating that I'm going to have a tax bill. I'm not trying to get away from my obligations. I actually would like to keep them because I like the ease that comes with having my shit in order. However, something happened. Something went off schedule. Something went off plan. Because again, when I look at the reality that is revealing itself, something went off plan. The stuff that's coming out about the Epstein file, something went off plan. This is not how there's no way this stuff was supposed to get out. There's no way. There's no way. And again, I say this as someone who is familiarizing myself with occult history, who, again, lives in Washington, D.C., so I've known about the Masons' presence. It's no secret. Like, you can go down specific streets and you see their emblems everywhere, right? I say this as someone who was raised in a church. I will share something about spirituality that I haven't talked to too many people about. There are certain things that can happen that can be conjured up even just by you being in a trance. And I learned that the hard way. Grateful that nothing crazy happened, but you can open portals, and there are people who open portals for real. And this is not like, that's why I said being in DC, you see some things, you witness some things, and I keep it on the low. I keep it moving. So that's why I said, like, the people that I know I need to work with, I want y'all to know how to reach me because we need to talk. Something went off. Something went off plan. because it's not adding up. When I look at the where we were to where we are now, there's a piece missing. Something happened. So I know that again, I know that I've been allowed to be at certain tables. I know that I've been able to create certain things. I know that I was stopped in certain things as well because it was like this information can't get out to the masses. So again, I really want to have just like a real conversation to understand what is what, because it doesn't make sense. I have tried my best to help my family, and again, even with the people who will watch this video, I don't interfere with anybody's free will. And so again, that's why I stopped doing advertising and stuff, because I was like, again, I can't say I care about the planet and just allow my body care company to scale to large heights, even though that was the trajectory that it was going on, right? Like taking the intentional time to build awareness organically, to again share some of the ways in which it has helped people, but the other wellness services and knowledge that I have can be of service to people, as well as my previous professional experience, my formal training, informal training, etc. It all matters, right? It's fostering trust, it's building awareness. I don't expect every body care company CEO to do the things that I'm doing, right? Like who I am is who I am. My poetry, I've intentionally not, I keep that, like, so I had a business mentor, and one of the questions when I told them about like the poetry and then the body care company was like, which one do you feel like is more profitable or has the potential to be more profitable? I said the body care company. I said, the poetry really is like just my creative outlet. I'm not really trying to monetize it. I'm not trying to become a millionaire off of my poetry or anything like that. That is just like my outlet. That's because I write. At the time I was writing professionally, in a career, so it's like I didn't have the feeling of like this has to be the bread and butter. That was just my safe space of like making sense of my healing journey, right? That's what the first book is about. It's like poems and prose for awakening, like coming back home to self. The body care company is more so like all the little beauty rituals, self-care rituals that you want to do, like, but just with luxurious ingredients, right? So I have a goat milk bath soak that is like out of this world, right? It has hibiscus, it can have jasmine flowers in it, right? Because again, I buy a lot of like my dried flowers, my floral ingredients, my essential oils. Like I'm very intentional about how I source around the world, because again, I need people who understand that we cannot keep extracting at the rate that we've been extracting from the earth without people who are willing to like replant and make sure that there's still supply 5-20 years from now, right? Like we can't be over harvesting just because you want to have a decadent bath. And that's me as a business owner. So when I say that, I'm like, I talk to my creative director. I haven't talked to my business mentor in a few years, because even that, like developing trust with people of a different race, like these are all these sort of avenues that I'm navigating where I'm like, why couldn't I have a Black woman mentor? Why couldn't I have this? But it's like, hey, you ask the state for help. You ask the SBA this, and this based on what you're doing. Here's this white man, former head of a hospital. This is who we're partnering you up with. Okay, got it. But it's like now I'm faced with a lot of these situations where it's like I have to face some of my own prejudices, some of the stuff that the real lived experiences about, should you trust this classification of people because of your lived experience, da 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 da. And again, that's the world that we're living in. So these are the decisions that I'm making as like the person that started this body care company as a hobby while she was working professionally in healthcare, and now finds herself in a seat where this thing can grow legs, and now they're asking you to show up as a leader. How do you want to lead, right? And now when you're thinking about ownership and this and that and who you're going to hire and who's going to be on your board of advisors and where you're going to manufacture, where you're going to store your goods, do you want a storefront? All these decisions. And I'm like, these are the decisions that I have to make, and I can share the load if I hire other people to make these decisions with me. So again, it's not lost on me the type of decisions, and this is just as someone who is starting out, right? So if you've been ahead of a company for 20 years, you have the compounding wisdom and experience and mistakes and the team that are helping you to shoulder the losses and the gains, right? But this is what business is. Oftentimes what I have witnessed is that there's also this subdivision that kind of takes all the murky, ugly things that nobody really wants to tend to because it's not sexy or it's bad PR, it's bad publicity, and they kind of make it go away. You can't make this stuff go away anymore, right? Because again, here's a perfect example. When I'm sitting in the seat of communications professional and I'm literally watching how the United States ships its unwanted goods because, again, the thrift stores and stuff are overburdened with all the stuff that we give away, right? They ship it off site, right? So some of this stuff winds up in foreign countries. Now they're being overstuffed with all the stuff that has been mass produced that no one wants anymore. It's washing up in their shores and they're trying to find different ways. So the fashion industry then takes on the task again of repurposing this material, right? Okay, let's make it insulation for homes. Let's do this, let's do that. You have a very subsect of people that are design professionals, that are professional problem solvers who can work across different industries to do the 360 of sustainability. And when I sat down with my creative director, who also had experience in agency land and nonprofit land, and again, just a global lens of the world, these are some of the decisions that we're making, right? Like, how do we do this in a way that we can still get it to people who are interested in buying it, but we're not adding to the burden, we're not adding to the problem, right? So then it becomes this small balance of, or this fine balance of how much do we give away versus how much do we produce and actually sell as a good or service, because there is a fine balance. And I'll close this by saying, like, the earth that we inhabit is a living, breathing organism, and that is the reason why we are alive. So we have to be good to this earth. We have to. There's no getting around it, right? Like, we cannot keep disrupting ecosystems because we just want money. There has to be better solutions. All you people, and this is why I said, like, who do I need to talk to? Because there has to be more accountability at the decision-making level. I shouldn't be seeing TikToks of like, oh, this thing washed up in the ocean. Look at it. Oh, I just so happen to be over here on a backpacking trip, so I decided to volunteer, and so we're cleaning up the water. Water is the source of life for every organism, and air, right? What are we doing? Like, seriously, what are we doing? I'm not in anybody else's home but my own. I'm not in anybody else's life but my own, right? I'm literally just a concerned citizen who also has a few LLCs that at one point intended to do good and be good for humanity. And as I put stuff down to prioritize leveraging my geopolitical communications, crisis communications expertise to help the healthcare industry during a huge crisis, and now picking back up my life, getting back to prioritizing the things that I wanted to focus on, because again, we all need jobs, right? And that's why I said, like, I'm like, I've applied for jobs in fast food. I've applied to jobs in laundromats. I'm working from different resumes because I'm like, again, it's hard to, let me rephrase that. Where America currently is, when I look at the state of finance for the tech industry, when I look at the state of finance for consumer goods, when I look at the state of finance for healthcare workers, and I look at them as consumers, when I look at my customer personas of who has discretionary income and who doesn't, who at what price point can afford my products and services, there's a lot of overlap. And it would be disingenuous of me as someone who, again, has family members who are in the healthcare industry, has a mentor that used to be in the healthcare industry, and say, oh, everybody's at a point where they need money. Again, listening to content creators who are still in real estate, having family members that are real estate investors. There's something going on with the liquidity in the United States. There are a lot of people who are pointing to private equity and the hedge fund bros and whatever y'all been doing. And that's why I said, like, I'm really grateful that I'm accountable for myself and the words that I'm speaking. Because, bros, what are y'all doing? What have y'all been doing? Y'all have just been going rogue, like y'all the only ones on this earth, and nobody's calling y'all out. Y'all literally are in the wild, wild west with this AI and this crypto. Again, crypto started how many years ago? And legislation and compliance is just now catching up. What do you think is going to happen with AI? And meanwhile, all of us are literally, our 401ks, our retirements, our pensions are quietly being picked apart to help fund y'all ideas. And that's what I'm saying, like, there's so much lack of oversight where some white men are concerned that is scary. Yet, most people that I know are retail investors who are getting in at the back end of things after the cream of the crop have already had their pickings. They've already secured their exit strategies and their pockets are lined, right? And so by the time I get on YouTube, and that's why I said, like, I can't really be on social media right now. I have to navigate very gingerly, if you will, because by the time I start hearing all these influencers start telling you why you should invest in crypto, why you should invest in AI and this and that, chat GPT this, I'm like, bros and sisters, y'all have no idea what y'all are literally peddling to our communities, and I don't want to be the one to call y'all out on it because y'all really don't understand that you are walking our people into the lion's den and you don't care because you believe in this bill of goods. That shit is about to bust. And again, depending on what rooms you're in, who knows who and what incentive they have to get as many people to sign on for it. You'll see. It's all speculative. But what is real is that you have however many citizens that are inhabiting the United States that still need food, shelter, clean water, healthcare. That's real, right? If we could divert some of that energy and that money to, like, actually helping people get back to the basics, right? I'm not talking about, well, actually it could be good, right? Let's talk about what defining a new normal looks like for humanity at a humanistic level, right? What would it look like and what would it cost to house every American, right? What is a universal basic income that can sustain it, right? Y'all already doing speculative markets with crypto and AI. Like, why not do it on something that actually helps people? Like, there's no reason for there to be income instability in 2025 when, again, printing money out of the air anyway, central bank. Fed, you're coming up with quantitative easing and quantitative tightening to make it look good, like we're not in a recession or that we're doing better than we actually are. Why not make something that actually benefits people? I don't think a 50-year mortgage will actually help, but that's just me. This is just someone who, again, just consider me an avid reader and an avid learner, right? And a communications subject matter expert. But there has to be something has to give. And unless a few people are incentivized to have more debts on their hands, at least tell me that, so that I don't keep wishing and praying and thinking that there's a God out there that is hearing me and my prayers and my wishes for there to be some sort of uprightness and justness in this place I call society. And that's literally where I am, where I'm like, the people that I talk to, I'm trying to bridge the gap between spirituality and reality, right? Like, I ask really, really tough questions that like get to the root of things, because that's what we need, right? Help me understand how we make sense of the travesties that are going on in the world and how we absolve ourselves of the responsibility of knowing and doing something about it. Especially if these people are our neighbors. So again, we have no shortage of holiday giving, holiday cheer that's going to come up, right? I did my little diffuser, so I have some of that energy as well. But yeah, like I sat down, I have my 3 different consumer personas for my body care products. When it comes to more of the services, of the professional services like content creation, communication, strategy, that's a different business to business service that I provide for just a small few. Because again, when you start talking about impact, you start talking about charitable giving, humanitarianism. Again, some people are not incentivized to think of the larger world, the larger populations, and that's the way it goes, right? We're all here on this planet, but we're not all here for the same reasons. And so when I sit down and I come up with my list of what's important to me, the family that I'm creating, right? The acts of generosity, how we still have our home, right? We still need to be able to understand what our tax liability is going to be, right? We are still going to need consistent income, our healthcare, our education, like we literally are creating a system so that the money that we have can actually last for us and our children. And I think at a bare minimum, every family needs to have a foundation. So this is just my word vomit that I'm going to put on my eco luxury page, because it all ties together, right? Like the mind of the founder of an eco luxury company, as well as a publisher who also does poetry because she's been in the arts and humanities most of her life. All these things matter, right? You start talking about your legacy and what you're going to do and who you're going to do it with, and that matters, right? If I'm rich, I definitely want my children to be rich. And I think that's okay. I think there's no reason why anyone in the United States of America shouldn't be rich. That's just me personally. I do not believe the past false dichotomy that in order to have wealth, you have to have some people who are poor. That's bullshit. If you want to keep repeating that cycle, you keep telling yourself that. But again, when you keep talking about liquidity and how money is exchanged, again, what can we do realistically, right? There are basics that go back to what is the same information that all of us can have to help us get to that end goal, right? And so I've been seeing how some institutions are starting to educate children on financial literacy as early as elementary school now, right? That's a real solution. Because again, who teaches you about money? And again, we also have to acknowledge that other people have had a head start on certain things because they were lying, cheating, and stealing. Again, all of our, if we're saying we're all alive at this point in time, whether we have similar or differing beliefs, that means that we have the same amount of ancestors as each other, right? Because we're a continuation of that bloodline. Difference is we don't know who a lot of those people are because we were disconnected from that. We were actually severed from that history, right? So all the ways in which we use spirituality to tap back into that, to recall that, like, yeah, let's absolutely use what we have to get where we need to go. I don't see anything wrong with that. And again, there's just a way that I feel like the awakening has brought me back to myself, where it's like I'm really grateful that I've been able to reclaim so much of my own family legacy and history through spending more time with my family, learning more about our history. There's so many books that I still want to read, right? Because there are certain bits of the culture that they didn't know, they didn't have access to, because again, they didn't get to prioritize that. So when you start talking about rest, rejuvenation, self-care, wellness, all of that interplays with it, right? Because for a lot of us who are the descendants of chattel slavery, rest was not a liberty that they had. So that's also why I said, like, trauma-informed care is so important in the work that I do, even though I'm not a therapist, right? Even though I'm not a medical professional, but it's because I understand the legacy and what was severed, what was taken. I understand that trauma really stays in our body. I understand that there are some of our loved ones who are still, like, lost mentally. And me saying that, meaning that, like, the fear that was instilled in them is so bone deep that they probably won't be able to awaken in this lifetime. And that's okay, right? You still love them. You still have your healthy boundaries and interact with them as your boundaries allow you to. But there's a lot of work that our community can benefit from, and us actually working together to get it done rather than being adversaries, where it's like, again, I'm looking at how the past 10 years of my life, most of my weekends were spent on continuing my education, whether it's through learning more about Black history, where it's like we would rent DVDs or rent movies or go to see movies, and just, again, learning different tentacles of our interconnected diasporic lineage. So it's a great time to be alive. Grateful to have some ideas that I've been able to put to paper, things that I've been able to recall. Like I said, modalities of healing that I've been able to benefit from, including Reiki. Also, as I mentioned, aromatherapy, essential oils. Sometimes when if I've had a iffy day, I keep different essential oils of different notes, depending on what I'm going through. I will just sniff it. The past few weeks, I've been massaging my feet with my reflexology socks. Excuse me. But I add a drop of either tea tree oil or another oil, add it to the cream, and I massage my feet. And when I tell you, I felt so lighter. So much lighter, so much better. There's real care that we can give to ourselves from things that are easily accessible to us from these stores that we go to. And you just have to be open to exploring it. Like I said, aromatherapy is one. Even just movement. YouTube is an invaluable resource. There are some different varying levels of practitioners that can be of service to you. But yeah, like I feel like the fight has literally just begun, because you can't tell me that something's not missing from this timeline. I think once upon a time it was easier to say, oh, that person just didn't know what they were doing. This, and that. It's like, no, this is all systemic. This is all systemic. When you watch how look at that Freudian slip. When you look at how the movie is playing out, and when you look at how the money is moving, it's almost inhumane that there's so many cries for help from humans when it comes to their health and their well-being. And then there's an overabundance of torture and murder and violence, whether it's through video games, movies, music, that we are constantly ingesting. And again, the desensitization to the human condition, the human spirit. Like, we have become desensitized to the breaking of human spirit. And that's scary, because that means that we will continue to tolerate the further desecration of any semblance of normalcy, any semblance of human decency, because we're so bogged down with our own responsibilities, our own focus, that we literally say, that's not happening to me, so I don't have to pay attention to it. And then we expect there to be community when and if we go through something. So, like I said, I have my family, I have my clients, I have my responsibilities and my obligations and my fun, and I can stick to it. If you want to work with me, my email address will be down below. And in the meantime, I'll see you in another video. Enjoy your Monday.